Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for our cash tag segment. For that, let's bring in our next guest. That's going to be Megan Brantley. She's the VP of Research at Likefolio. Welcome back to the show, Megan.
Thanks for having me, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. And we're talking Tesla. It's been consolidating recently, getting a nice 4% pop today on the back of the overall market rallying pretty significantly. But they've had some troubles with EV and, valuations kind of get thrown out the window with this one. What kind of data do you guys have out of Likefolio on this one?
If you've tracked us this year talking about Tesla and some of this demand data and sentiment data, it's been a really tough year for Tesla. I don't think that this is a surprise to anyone, but digital demand has softened. We saw deliveries fall last quarter, and we've seen really just the brand sentiment struggle as Musk was perceived as overly political. There was a lot of backlash there. So there have been lots of areas of Tesla where we've been following, aside from the company's other ambitions in autonomous driving and robotics, et cetera. Whenever we look at just the overall, car business for this company, it's been really rough. But I will say that our recent pull of data is probably a breath of fresh air if you are a Tesla investor or a Tesla believer. Whenever we look at monthly data, the July numbers that just came in for us, at least in forward-looking web data, is actually really positive. So we shifted from a negative print. We were down about 21% on a year-over-year basis in April when it came to that digital traffic for Tesla. And in July, this swung up to 18% positive, so 18% growth year over year. A lot of this is likely pull forward demand from consumers who are trying to get orders in and trying to get those deliveries before the September 30th deadline. However, this is a positive sign that we still do see a lot of consumer demand, a lot of consumer interest in Tesla and the vehicles that it offers. And it's nice to see this surge in demand. If we did not see this uptick, this bit of a pull forward effect, we'd be a bit worried. So this is, some positive momentum for Tesla. We also see a lot of chatter surrounding the new Model Y refresh. And this is something that I believe has just been released in China for now. But we did see some early reports out of China that showed, strong interest. I think that one report suggested that there were 40,000 orders in a single day. And so you can see this on this search chart. Consumers are definitely very interested in this model that has, a proper third row, a little bit more space, maybe more well suited for a family. So this looks like a consumer hit, at least in our book. So it's nice to start to see Tesla come out of the weeds from this, branding plague that seems to have hovered over it over the last couple of months.
Megan, I scanned or read part of 10 analyst articles for this show on Tesla. And the ratings, 5 holds, 3 sells, 2 strong sells. No buys on this name. Now, people that are talking about this as an EV company are looking at the past, and they're competing as an EV company. That whole sector of the economy is going through a little dead patch with, by the way, Elon Musk warned that this was going to be a rough period as they revamped the cars, bring out new cars and revamp factories and things like that. That said, the future of this company is not in EVs, it's in robotaxis, robotics, full self-driving. It's all the other things that they do. People ignore that. And that's what, there's nothing more comical to me than reading an analyst talk about he wants the valuation to come down to a normal EV company so we can buy. That is just ridiculous. And the confirmation that you need, no buys. No buys out of 10 analysts. And what's the stock doing today with the S&P up 1.5? It's up 5%. That's all you need to know. This company has its adoring fans, and it has its ultimate skeptics. It's good to see, though, that your data is actually showing positive for the real data, which is interest in this company.
Yeah, we love to be a contrarian player. We love to be on the contrarian side of a bet, and especially whenever it's around a name like Tesla that has so many tailwinds, like you mentioned, robotics, robotaxi. We're seeing chatter that that Tesla is hiring robo-taxi kind of autopilot riders in Chicago even. And so this is an area that is really just getting started and expanding. And when we look at the sentiment of people who have actually utilized this service, it's very, very high and it's very strong. They're very impressed. We see consumers at large are growing more and more open and accustomed to, riding in an autonomous vehicle, riding in a robo-taxi. And this could be a tremendous growth driver for Tesla. And that's not even talking about its Optimus robot and how that could potentially develop as another revenue driver for the company. But for us, it's really nice to see just that overarching brand sentiment improving for Tesla. Starting to put some of those struggles behind it. And it's nice to see that demand ramping up right now for its vehicles. I think that this helps to, just improve its overall brand standing and maybe help, sway some of the naysayers that are betting against the company. But for us, we look at these long-term indicators, especially if sentiment is future growth. So for us, again, really nice to see some improvements in sentiment after a bit of a struggle, but we look at Tesla as a binary bet, and you can either bet on this company as an EV maker, like you mentioned, or you can bet on this company as, the leader in autonomous driving and robotics and pushing even AI forward. And, we choose that second bet. And so I think that really is the long-term bet on Tesla right now, but even near term, our signal is growing a bit more positive on that EV demand.
Yeah, coincidentally, when Elon Musk stops talking a lot, maybe, and just tweeting about his companies at this point. But Megan, have you guys seen anything since the release of the Robotaxi in Austin? Have you seen any trends there that this is positive for the company and that's helping out the stock also?
Yeah, I think that the robotaxi adoption has been strong. I think that another element that we've seen is that the robotaxi has some pricing power now. I think that the cost to, hail one of these rides is less versus competitors. And part of that is Tesla's massive scale and its vehicle fleet that it already has. And so I think that that's an advantage it has moving forward. We'll be watching as it continues to expand, but overall it's positive in our book to see consumers who really want to try this service. They're really open to, getting in an autonomous vehicle to take them around. I think if you would have asked people the same question about 10 years ago, the answer and outlook would be very different.
Yep, a lot of bifurcating views here on this company, but having a nice day today, as Kevin mentioned, up over 5%. Great stuff as always, Megan. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right, that's Megan Brantley, VP of Research at Likefolio, joining us. Kevin, how do you want to look at this one from an example trade? It's been